Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here today. I have Sheri Berger with Here to There Consulting. Sheri, welcome.
Oh, good morning. Good to see you. Thank you.
Absolutely, you bet. I know you've been out of town for a bit. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. Yes. It's like some vacation and went camping. So yeah, we're back. And then our oldest son came in town for about 4 days and we got to hang out with him last week. So that was nice.
Fantastic. Hey, would you mind sharing a little bit about your background, about your consulting business? How did you get into that in the first place?
So way back in 99, way back in 99, I was working as a system analyst for Sprint. So, and then I had my third child and felt like I needed to choose between my career and my family. I got really, really good reviews. They offered me, I was actually working for Sprint. This was back before Sprint laid people off, yes. And I felt like I had to choose between my family and my career. So I went ahead and stayed home at maternity leave, and my middle two children are 14 months apart. Yes, lucky me. So I had a 10-year-old, a 14-month-old, and a newborn. And I was on call while I was pregnant, but you think the pager, yes, I said the word pager, the pager and the baby would cry at the same time, but that did not happen. And the baby always wanted me, and my husband would try to let me sleep. But that was back when we lived in a little small 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. So, you know, it was, anyways, trying to balance that life-work balance. So I thought, oh, and then I forgot to tell you, my son was 7 months old and he got injured in daycare. And when he got injured in daycare, then I also did not feel very comfortable putting my children back in daycare. So I took them out of the in-home daycare and put them in a big, like La Pete daycare, and went ahead and worked out. And I loved my job as a system analyst. But I went ahead and put in my 2-week notice after maternity leave. And I actually thought I would start my own daycare business. I went to Daycare Connection and went ahead and learned how to set up and do all that. And I met amazing, amazing women that knew how to do daycare, but they had a lot of problems with maybe some of their business side of things. And being that I just tend to analyze things, I went ahead and started helping them set up their business, figuring out what computers they needed, what they needed to be keeping for their accounting, things like that. And at first I was doing it for free. That's crazy, yes, but I love helping people. So I was helping these women. And then they found out, they would be like, you are so good at this and so amazing. So they'd have me talk to their husbands that were running their own business. So I fell into it. And not sound arrogant, but when you're really, really good at something, you fall into it. So that was back in 99, and I had a consultant business. And so at the time I had Berger Consulting business. And so I went ahead and ran Berger Consulting business for a while. But then 9/11 happened, and I was pregnant with number 4. And I don't like to call myself a victim. I'm an overcomer of 9/11, but I lost my brother in the Pentagon 9/11. And I was pregnant through all that. And he never ever got identified, and he was Navy. So it took him a minute to be identified. So needless to say, that all put us in a whirlwind of things. And then we had some other things. We got ripped off in a house shortly after that. We had a lot of, I call them Job moments. You guys Christian would understand the book of Job. She had about 2.5 years of nonstop stuff. So we cleaned up all that. And then I did jobs like, I did all the conversions for Hy-Vee. I converted all their computer systems over. I taught at Brown Mackey. I taught at JUCO. People would tease and say, Sheri will teach anything. It had to be accounting, business, or intro to computers. My background, obviously. So when I went ahead and I was teaching and doing things like that, my daughter ended up with asthma because the house that we got ripped off back, I told you about in 2002, she was only 10 weeks old, and she had a code blue twice. And she was, because I had Stachybotrys mold, which is that black toxic mold. So she spent the first 2 years of her life in and out of the hospital. Well, in saying that, when she was about 8, I realized her asthma was better. I was doing whatever survival like moms do, jobs. And I told you all the different jobs I was holding. My husband ran his own business for a while. I worked for him as well. Or actually he worked for me, ha, ha, ha. No, but I helped my husband when he did his own construction business. So I was just doing whatever I had to do to be a mom. So in 2008, 2009, my daughter was about 8, 9 years old. And I went, what do I really, really want to do? And what am I really, really passionate about? Which is what I always tell my clients. And what am I really good at? Oh my gosh, I loved it when I did consulting. But now I've added a combination of we do consulting and coaching because people need like a combination of both of that. I don't do IT anymore, which back then I was doing a little bit of the IT. I have people that do that for me. But yeah, I go ahead and I sit down with my clients and figure out what their needs are, what their pain points are, and then we come up with a custom plan. And the name of my business now is From Here to There Consulting. And I started up this business about 9 years ago. And so anyway, that's my little long but short version of how I got from here to there, which we all go on our journeys in life, right?
Absolutely, you bet. I must admit, I've never known you to be at a loss for words. So
I know I tried to get to the point, but
oh, it's hilarious.
But I was trying to give you the big picture of how I got from there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Hey, so I'm curious, Sheri, what sort of challenges are you seeing? We had folks, kind of have to retreat, stay at home for a while. Now businesses are starting to open up, facing those challenges of how to transition back to a more open sort of a situation. What challenges are you seeing with your clients, and what sort of advice are you giving them?
So I've seen a lot of our clients when we first closed down, rightfully so, all started freaking out. So I have actually been busier than ever trying to help people that own their small to mid-sized businesses. So at first, of course, I was just helping people figure out where they want to go next. Over time, I've seen businesses figure out that they need to pivot. We all had our business plan or our goals set up for January. Well, most business owners.
Sure.
But has anything went the way that you planned, Tim? I know nothing's went the way I've planned.
Yeah, for sure.
So business owners have had to do a lot of pivoting and changing the way they're doing it. And a lot of it has been bringing their stuff online, figuring out their business plan. And like I said, at first, I felt like a lot of the business owners were freaking out. And like I said, that was rightfully so. But at this point, I have a lot of my clients that have obviously pivoted and made changes. And I've helped them, guide them, and direct them to where we need to maybe pivot or make a change. And I find that the businesses that are being very, very successful are the ones that are more adaptable. And there's some of the business owners I've found that are a little bit more, you might want to call it stuck in their ways. They don't want to really pivot, or maybe they were more about the money and less about helping the community. So I've seen a lot of, what do you want to call it? A lot of, this is when you find out people's integrity, their character, who they are as a business owner. And I found a lot of that in working with clients, which has been very, very interesting on my part. So anyway, that's who I've been working with, though.
Yeah, fantastic. A couple of things. It is interesting. I've done a lot of these interviews. Everybody I've talked to has found at least one positive thing, one new skill set, one new area of focus, something that has really been beneficial out of this COVID experience. You mentioned you've been busier than ever. Are there other things? Is there something else that you've possibly discovered that you may not have discovered had it not been for this situation?
Well, Tim, right now you're interviewing me. I hate pictures of myself and I hate videos of myself. Mm-hmm. But wait, I'm talking all me, which I am the least, I am not a self-centered person. That makes me sound self-centered when I say this. But what I found out was back in October, I realized I needed to go online to make a bigger impact for more people, because my motto in life is to make a difference in others. So I love my job that I go out and help others. But how much can you do if you don't do video? Well, I do know back in October, I realized when I was doing that, I was like, wait a minute, it's not about me. It's not about my picture. It's not about what I look like. It's about the message that you need to get out to the world. So I think I've really, really had to get out of my comfort zone as far as being okay with videoing, being okay with interviewing. I know you did an interview with me. What was that, about 1.5 years ago?
Something like that.
Yeah, and you probably can already tell that I'm a lot more comfortable in this interview than I was then, because I've really had to grow in that, because it's not about me, it's about the impact and getting the message out to others. And I feel like as a business coach in consulting, I really have to live by example. And so if I can't overcome that obstacle, how can I expect my clients to do the same?
Yeah, fantastic. And I think you're absolutely right. Myself included, I think we've all had to learn new things, get way more comfortable doing this video stuff. I'm used to being on the other side of the camera, so this was a new experience for me as well. So again, it has stretched all of us, I think. Hey, so Sheri, I'm curious as we wrap up a little bit here. I've got to say, you're one of the most positive people that I come in contact with on a consistent basis. And I really appreciate that. We haven't seen each other in person for a while, but I know when we have seen each other before, I've always walked away a little bit lighter, a little bit more encouraged. What is it that you find? How do you stay positive? What words of encouragement or advice can you give folks to help them maintain that sort of sense of positivity on a day-to-day basis?
I think it's the way that you view life, right? If you look at life in general, I've not always had the easiest life, and a lot of people don't know my background, and that's okay. You don't need to know unless it's going to benefit you. But I feel like if you look at your life in general, there's always something positive to find in your life. And your life could always be better than somebody else's. So if you ever look at the burdens that maybe I've carried in my life, which have been quite a few, I don't want to carry the ones that you have, Tim. I don't really know what those are. But usually if you go look at somebody else's life and you go, oh, I wish I had that, but if you really knew behind the scenes, you'd be a lot more happy with who you are and who your life is. And I feel like God has really, really blessed me over the years with amazing people like you and other people in my life. And I think that if you're a positive person, obviously you attract positive people. So I think you just need to, every morning, I've actually been working with my clients with this actually, because with this virus, it's made a lot of people, freaking out, which rightfully so. But if we write down our blessings every morning and we focus on how blessed we are, then I think that would really, really change your attitude in life. And it also makes you have a better life. So anyway.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for being grateful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. Well, hey, Sheri, thank you so much. I really appreciate visiting with you today. Great to see you over Zoom. Look forward to seeing you in person at some point.
Okay. Thank you so much, Tim, for doing this. And also, I really appreciate all the interviews you've done with other people. It's been really, really good to get to know more people and see them in the interview form.
Fantastic.
You have a blessed day.
Thanks,
Thank you
Sheri.
so much.